Hello creative creatures and cryptids, it is time for the November 3 Colour Challenge. I'm your host Emily Dubious, let's get into it. As some of you already know, the 3 Colour Challenge is where I ask subscribers or followers to comment something to draw, can be an animal, can be an object, can be whatever, and 3 numbers between 1 and 30. The 3 numbers will correlate to 3 of my Copic Chow markers. I draw the suggestion and I use those 3 colours to colour in the result. This month I'm starting with Bianca van Remberg's suggestion of a shark. Cute little shark. I decided to draw it green, or colour it in green, because, well, it was more interesting than making the whole shark just blue. And I thought a little blue underbelly was quite sweet, and then the black is used for the eyes and little dots all over it, just to give it a little of extra detail. One of the lessons that I think this drawing really shows is how you can do quite a lot with just 3 colours, particularly if you utilise layering and shading and a white Posca marker for highlights. However, I should have waited and done the dots after, because as you can see here they're a little bit smudged, but hey, that's fine, that's what practice is for. So yeah, with Copic markers you should probably add details on very last minute, and possibly not with the Copic markers themselves, because they will smudge if you try to blend them. Pip Wood suggested a zebra in a top hat and Wellington boots. I had quite some trouble with this one. Took me a very long time, mainly because I was trying to get a more realistic looking zebra, and I must have redrawn it at least 20 times, and it just did not work. And sometimes that's the case, sometimes it just doesn't work, and that's fine. So after all of that frustration, I decided to give him little red welly boots and a little red top hat. Since the only other colours I had were the coral and green, I made a coral and green zebra. With the red top hat, I started with a little polka dot pattern to see how that looked. I thought maybe utilising the white of the paper might be a good idea, but it didn't really work, so I just made it all red. Experimenting is good and fine and fun when 3 colour challenge is concerned. Connie R asked me to draw a bear in a monocle. This style was more what I was going for the previous one, the zebra, but it worked better for the bear for some reason. I spent quite some time trying to figure out the colours for this one. The blue and the purple are very close together, and the yellow is a fantastic contrast to them both. As a colour set, I really like them, but for this particular drawing I had a real trouble figuring out what to put where. I eventually settled on making the bear blue and using the purple for sort of shadows and details on the fur, and using the yellow for the tie. If I was to do this again, I'd probably draw him without a shirt on, since I couldn't do the shirt in any other colour. I really wanted the yellow for the monocle and the tie, but the yellow wouldn't have worked for the shirt at all, and neither of the other colours would have worked either, because they would have bled too much into the fur, so I ended up leaving the shirt white. But you live, you learn, and these are the risks you take with a limited colour palette. Ariana09 gave me a rose to draw. The main issue I had with this piece is the 2 purples. One of the problems you very quickly realise with Copic markers is that the colour on the lids is not always exactly how that colour comes out. As you can see here, one is a slightly lighter shade than the other, but they are very similar. So I made the rose itself, the 2 different shades of purple, using the darker one for the shadowy bits and the lighter one for the lighter bits, and I used the orange for the stem and leaves. A little bit of highlighting with the Posca. I did discover through this that the alcohol base of the Copic markers does mean it sort of absorbs the paint from the Posca pen. So actually I switched to using a white gel pen for the highlights. Holly Forev suggested Zelda, which I mainly went with because the colours she suggested matched Zelda's dress design. There are two sort of purpley colours again, but these two are very different, and so that worked much better for me than the roses one. The orange seemed suitable for a bit of the detail on the dress, but then I was left with what to do for the skin colour and the skin tone. I ended up using the orange as a sort of shadow type look, which I think worked actually really well. So there you have it, 5 more suggestions done for this month's 3 colour challenge. If you'd like to take part, comment below with something to draw and 3 numbers between 1 and 30. Thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to stay creative, chaotic and kind. Goodbye.